we got to talk about this home sale and the September 2025 budget review. If you're not interested in the home sale part, I will put a timestamp in here when the budget review begins so you can get to the numbers. But yeah, I won't leave you in suspense. The house did sell, but let's talk about it. All right, I hope you enjoy this lovely autumn background here in Sweden. I have got you propped up on a birch stump as my stand today. And let's talk about this home sale. I'm not even sure where we left off with it, to be honest. I know I had an offer on the table 2 days before I flew over here to Sweden to live permanently. And at that time, the closing was set to happen on September 15th. Well, things were delayed. To remind you guys of the numbers for the home sale, I had my house listed for sale initially when I got back from moving my pets over here to Sweden, and I did that at the end of April, 1st of May. So we had the house listed initially at $294,900. That's where we started at around the beginning of May. Got some interest, very little, but I knew that the market was tough when we listed my house, but still I was hopeful and optimistic, as I tend to be with things. And I had hoped that we would get an offer at that price point, but we did not. Just a few interested parties, one lowball offer that came in from a likely investor just trying to make a good margin on a home buy. But no serious offers until I did a $10,000 price drop, and I dropped the price of the house to $284,900. And I did that price drop 30 days in, I think. And that did generate a little bit more interest. And long story short, we'll jump ahead to the point of me getting an offer. I did get an offer for the house. We ultimately settled on a price point of $275,000. But I mean, by then, the house had been listed for a long time because I agreed to that offer and flew over here in August. So I got the offer August 14th, somewhere around there. I think that's when we signed the paperwork, because I flew to Sweden and landed here August 16th and have been here since, of course. So house was to be sold at $275,000. Now, the buyers did a home inspection, as one should, and that did turn up a few things that they wanted fixed. Thankfully, they were minor things. However, there were some plumbing and electrical things that they wanted fixed, and that required an inspection from the city to approve after the work was done. So that did delay things just slightly, but I will say, thanks to my realtor being on the ball, shout out to you, Natalie, and her husband too, for being so handy. She coordinated and handled getting everything fixed for me that the buyers wanted me to fix. So that was done, and the inspectors came out and inspected the work, and work was good. It was approved. So the sale was going forward. However, the delay at that point was waiting for an appraisal from the buyer's bank. So they used Rocket Mortgage, and it took a while for their appraiser to come out and look at the place. So at that point, the closing had to be delayed, and the due diligence period extended. So we planned on closing on September 30th, very last day of September. And thankfully, we did close on the 30th, because if not, I would have had to make another mortgage payment. My mortgage payment was due October 1st. So anyhow, the appraiser comes out to appraise the property, and with this real estate market being what it is, I know it's a tough market. My real estate agent was worried about the comps in the area. I was not. I really thought that the house would appraise for $275,000. I mean, I listed at $295,000 and agreed on $275,000, and I was like, I had all the receipts, you guys. I had the prior appraisal when I bought the property before I did all of the work on the property, and it appraised then for $184,900, I believe. and I put $100K of work into the house, about $95K really. So I thought for sure that the house would appraise at $275. Well, lo and behold, the appraisal came back at $265,000. And, you know, my initial thought was, no, hell no, absolutely not. I have to say, that was my initial reaction. I was like, nope, I'm going to put it back on the market. I don't care. That's too low. I'm not going to let it go for that. But then I slept on it. And I will say also that because the appraisal came in $10,000 less than what the buyers agreed to buy my house at, that both my realtor and the buyer's realtor agreed to take a commission reduction to get this sale to go through. So even though the price was dropped by $10,000, I ended up only taking like about $4,000 less than what I would have gotten if I had sold the house at $275 and both realtors got their regular commission. So again, shout out to both of them really for being willing to take the commission reduction, because I mean, they didn't have to do that. I didn't even know that was an option. It was something that my realtor suggested. So yeah, I ended up selling the house for $265, and y'all, that breaks my heart a little bit, but I will say it is such a tough real estate market right now. I saw an article online recently that was talking about, and it mentioned the Charlotte area in particular, about how people are becoming accidental landlords because, you know, they want to sell their property, but they can't sell it at the price they want. Things are not appraising. The market is not moving. I checked after my house closed to see if anything near me had sold recently, and there was a house that was listed for sale that honestly I loved. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath like mine. It was 1,300 square feet. Mine was only a little over 1,000 square feet. It had a attached 2-car garage, vaulted ceilings in a very nice ritzy area in the town where I lived. And I will say the inside was just a little bit dated. Like it could use some updating, but it looked really nice. And that house had sold recently before mine did for $259,000. So y'all, it's just a sign of the times right now. The real estate market is really hard. And in a way, you know, looking at some of the homes, I mean, there aren't many that have sold recently, but seeing that one in particular made me feel a little bit better about the situation. And honestly, just going by my gut instincts and how hard it was to sell my house, I kind of have a feeling that the real estate market is going to get worse in the Charlotte area before it gets better. Maybe even nationwide, who knows? But, you know, everybody is waiting on these rate cuts to go through, and nobody's really sure how quickly or how many or if they're going to continue. I know they've started, but yeah, there's too many unknowns, and who knows? Just letting my house go at $265, I feel like was a good hedge to the downside of my overall just portfolio risk. Just let the house go for $265. Be grateful that I can start living and enjoying my life here in Sweden. And, you know, it just is what it is. I had planned on being lean fire in Sweden anyway. So now it's going to be just that little bit more lean. So I really am going to have to be careful about my spending over here. And, you know, speaking of, we will take a look at my budget, but I will say that I have a few more videos that I have already filmed and edited and uploaded to the channel. I just haven't made them public yet. And one of them is just a day in the life walk and talk with me. I was out on a walk with Rollo talking about lean fire in general. So this was before my house closed. So I can't remember specifically if I said anything in that video about the home sale. So if I did, and that video, I release it after this one, because it's October now. I'm filming this on October 1st, so I need to get this video done and uploaded and let out for you guys. I need to do my net worth update too for you channel members, and I'll do that today as well. But yeah, I need to get this video out ASAP. So if I said anything about the home sale in that other video that I will release later, talking about just lean fire in general, don't get too confused. I gotta be faster about getting these videos out apparently. But anyway, that is the story with the home sale. Y'all, it was rough, and I, for a while there, was not sure if the home sale was gonna go through at all. But when it comes down to it, if I had let the house go back on the market, there's a good possibility that I could have been in the same spot again a few months later, where the house just would not appraise for whatever the buyers were willing to buy the house for. And then in the meantime, I would have had all of the continued maintenance costs of paying the mortgage and paying the utilities, and I'm not living there anymore. So it just is what it is. It hurts a little bit. It's rough, but I will say, you know, really, I made my real estate gains when I sold my old home back in 2022 and bought this house that I sold. It was a completely different real estate market there. It was completely a seller's market, and I made a lot of money on my previous home sale, which I did document on this channel if you want to go back and find it. In fact, I will find those videos and link to them in the description box below if you're interested, because, I mean, really, if there is one thing that I could point to that allowed me to get to fire so quickly, even though it's lean fire, nonetheless, if I could point to one thing that boosted me on the journey, it was that home sale. Second biggest thing was taking the second full-time job for the last 13 months that I was working. That was the other big boost that allowed me to retire early. And here I am sitting in the Swedish woods with a nice single malt whiskey. It's October 1st. I'm not even 40 yet and early retired. So for all of my moaning about my real estate sale here, I really can't complain, you guys. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad the sale went through. Little disappointed it didn't sell for as much as I wanted to, but you know what? It's going to be a lean fire lifestyle anyway, so now I just have to be that much more careful. I mean, just check out these vibes. Cool mushrooms. Dragonfly checking us out there. Last few remaining lingonberries. Just a few of them left. Yeah, I can't complain when this is where I live now. All right, y'all, here we are looking at the September 2025 budget review spreadsheet here. I hope the lighting is not too distracting for you guys. I think my camera doesn't really know what to do with the lighting down here, but that's okay. I wanted to get out of the direct sun, and so I came over here to sit in our little fishing shack, I call it, even though I can't directly fish right here because of all the reeds in the lake. But anyway, let's look at the budget here. So net income for the month, y'all can see the home sale there. So the income this month is crazy looking because of that. Otherwise, all I had was some interest in my investment accounts. I did get a little bit of dividend payout in my investment accounts. I was going to cash out my credit card rewards in September, but I'm going to do it in October. Now, I was waiting for the home sale to go through before I finally closed that credit card. I have an Apple Card, and I can't have an Apple Card if I don't have a U.S. address. I have double checked with them. I would like to keep the card, but I can't when I am not a U.S. resident anymore. So I will cash out my credit card rewards, which are now up to about $340 in October. I did get my vacation hours cash out from Job A. That was $1,027.21. The home sale went through. I was hoping for about $134,000 really. But yeah, with the price reduction because of that appraisal, I only ended up getting $127,997.39 for that house. And just rough numbers on what I purchased that house for. I bought the house in 2022 for $164,000. I put about $95,000 worth of work into the house, renovating it, and it just sold for $265,000. So, I mean, I am roughly break even for the house. By the time you add in closing costs and things, I'm probably losing a few $1,000s on that deal. But for reasons stated earlier in the video, I am just glad to have the home sale done and over with. And considering that I only bought the place in 2022, I mean, only losing a few $1,000s on that deal is really not too bad considering. Last income source here is YouTube. So I was happy to say that the YouTube income this month is a lot more than I usually get. But then again, I have been uploading a lot more since I got here to Sweden, and I've been getting more views and things because, I mean, it's just a big transition point here in my life, actually starting fire. So, yeah, I did get $227.81 this month from my YouTube income, which is great. Love it, because I'm trying to keep my spending ideally around $1,500 or less every month. And y'all can see I did not actually hit that this month. Yeah. But I'm just glad that I didn't end up needing to make a mortgage payment this month. I'm glad the home sale did go through. Like I said before, my payment was due October 1st. So if for any reason the home did not close on the 30th, I would have had to make this payment, which would have sucked. So yeah, I did have a utility bill from the home in North Carolina. That was $150.64 this month. I will get a final bill from them at some point in October, I'm sure. But that should be the last one that I have to pay. Internet, I left it here just in case they charged me for a partial month of service, because I had the internet set up to cut off on the 15th of September. That was originally when the home was supposed to close. So the internet got cut off, and then lo and behold, the closing got pushed out to the 30th. But regardless, I did not get any charges from my internet provider for a partial month. So, not really sure if that's accurate or not, but I haven't gotten an email or anything from them either about having a bill, so I'm not worried about it. Food and household here, this is just everything we get at the grocery store, and this month I paid for the groceries for the full month. Obviously, there was some extra spending that does not have to be part of the grocery budget every month, and likely will not be part of the grocery spending every month because, you know, lean fire. But considering I'm just starting out my life here, I did just for this month, I bought whatever I wanted when we went to the grocery store, whatever we happened to need, whatever we felt like eating. I wasn't shopping any sales or doing anything spectacular to try to save money. My Optimus self budgeted for $600. Realistically, I was hoping that we could keep the food and household budget around $750. But in actuality, y'all can see, we spent $845.95 on everything food and household this month. Lastly here, this is my American Registry for Diagnostic Medical Sonography. So this is my ultrasound license renewal. I have to pay this every year. Every year they like to increase the charges for us. And yeah, that's annoying. I almost did not renew this time around. I was really close, especially when I saw that it's now over $100. I mean, when I first started doing ultrasound 15 years ago, it was like $80, maybe even less. But yeah, it was over $100 to renew my license for ultrasound for the next year. And ironically, I can't really even do ultrasound here in Sweden. So basically, the only reason for me to keep this license is just because I worked for it, one. Two, I mean, it would be possible for me to go back to the US and take a travel assignment. Trouble with that is the taxes here in Sweden. So because I'm a resident of Sweden, even though I earned the income in the US, if I took a travel job over there, Sweden would tax that income because I would be a tax resident here. So the taxes here in Sweden are much higher than in the US on earned income. So for me to take a travel job, the travel pay would really have to be pretty high for me to want to accept a travel job. However, just on the off chance that I feel like we need to do that at some point, I figured it's worth it to keep my license at least for another year here. I did look on the ARDMS website to see if there was a retirement option for my license, and there is. However, if you choose that option, then basically I have to retake all of the exams that I have already taken and passed to earn my credentials. I would have to retake all of those, which there were several of them, because in order to be an ultrasound technologist in the US, you first have to pass a physics registry, which is how the machine works, how the image is created. You have to pass that to become a sonographer. And then you choose individual specialties that you want to test in. So I was also registered in abdomen, vascular, and OBGYN. So I would have to take all 4 of those tests again if I tell the ARDMS that I'm retired and then decide that I want to go back to work. So yeah, it really was a debate, but I went ahead and paid the $105 this year. So that was an extra expense that only comes out once a year. And then the personal and miscellaneous spending. So again, I bought a few fishing things. I make notes so I can remember what it is that I have bought. I bought a few more new baits for fishing around here, some household things, just stuff for the kitchen that I want. It's mostly what that is. And I needed to get more supplies for Rollo. Y'all, I have mentioned before, he keeps chewing this one foot in particular. And y'all, I really think I've figured out why he started that in the first place. So I've noticed as he's getting older that he does kind of knuckle over and drag his back feet a little bit when he walks now. And he does it with both of his back feet, but especially that left one. And so he's an Irish Wolfhound. He's 7.5 years old. He's starting to get old for that breed. And I just think that he is starting to get some hind end weakness going on, a little bit of arthritis maybe, as he's getting older. And with him dragging that left back foot, I think that is probably what initially started this whole thing with him wanting to lick that back foot constantly. And so it's just created this vicious cycle where he drags his toes out on a walk, and then when we come back from the walk, his toes hurt and he licks them and he chews off the nails and it makes it worse, and he just keeps this cycle going. So we have tried and tried and tried different socks, different strategies to keep him from licking those toes. And I've been trying to avoid using an Elizabethan collar, the cone of shame, but he has now earned the cone of shame, and I haven't gotten it yet. Otherwise, I could do a little dog shaming right now, but once we get that cone of shame in, the good thing is he won't have to wear the socks and stuff when he has the e-collar on, but until then, I'm using a combination of different socks and things to try to keep him from licking those toes and making the situation worse. If I feel like he's getting to the point where he needs some medication to handle just the arthritis in general, then we'll do that for him. I don't think he's there yet, but I will say, I've had this dog since he was 13 weeks old. I'm quite familiar with Irish Wolfhounds, and the problems that they have. These giant breeds do tend to get arthritis in their old age. They start having a little bit harder time getting up and down, and Rollo is getting to that point. I've noticed just ever so slightly changes in him that it takes him a little bit longer to get up out of the floor. And he's dragging those toes now on a walk on occasion, where he used to not do that. Yeah, he's just starting to be an old man, guys. That's just all there is to it. What do you say? Are you an old man? Yeah, he's pretty old. But I will buy whatever I can to kind of support him as he ages. And, you know, we can both have the best retirement possible, I think. So the only other big expense that I had as far as like Amazon spending, personal, miscellaneous this month, were the cat houses. So I mentioned in my video about moving here where I was showing the house and the land around that the entryway to the house had an enclosed cat litter box furniture thing for me to put the litter box in and hide it. Well, we put that together, and I needed to kind of doctor it to kind of make it be able to open from the top. I did that, and I got it to where it can open from the top. However, it's just so rickety that that cat furniture is not going to work. It's just not going to work. So we ended up buying 2 new cat furniture things to hide the litter box. And those were like $80 a piece. So that ended up being $160 worth of this to replace the thing that I bought before that I hoped that I was going to be able to make it work, but it's just not going to hold together long term. So this is going to be a better solution. Hopefully, again, it's just another one-time expense that came out, and maybe in October I can keep my spending under that $1,500 mark, because that is mentally where I would like for my spending to be every month now that I am lean fire. But this month I came in at just under $1,700, so a little bit more than I wanted. This last section down here is going over all of my investments and projected percentage portfolio spend for the rest of the year. It goes over how much I have left to spend for the year. This section is for channel members only, so if you're a channel member, then check that section of my YouTube page and you will see that video for y'all. I will go film that video right now, and then we'll kind of combine that into a net worth video, because now my net worth essentially is just the portfolio that I have, because I no longer own real estate. So yeah, we'll talk about that as well, and go over how the lean fire lifestyle is gonna look for 2026. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you in my next video. Bye, y'all.